What if Isaiah was not merely a prophet, but a witness? A man who briefly saw beyond ordinary human perception and returned unable to describe what he encountered except through symbols, fire, and impossible imagery, a throne suspended above reality, burning beings covered in eyes, voices that shook structures, a civilization collapsing beneath its own corruption. The book of Isaiah does not read like poetry alone. It reads like contact, like a consciousness forced to look directly at something vast enough to fracture language itself. Welcome to Code of Scripture. This afternoon we decode one of the most overwhelming books in Scripture. Isaiah, the throne, the watchers, the fire, and the terrifying possibility that Isaiah witnessed reality beyond the human filter. Isaiah begins with one of the strangest visions in all of Scripture. I saw the Lord sitting upon a throne high and lifted up. Then come the seraphim, burning beings surrounding the throne, each with 6 wings. 2 covering the face, 2 covering the feet, 2 used for flight, and they repeat endlessly, "Holy, holy, holy." Modern readers often imagine peaceful angels, but Isaiah's description feels overwhelming, almost unbearable. The room shakes, smoke fills the space. Reality trembles. This resembles less a comforting religious experience, and more an encounter with incomprehensible scale. Ancient cultures often describe divine encounters using light, fire, vibration, sound, impossible geometry, because ordinary language fails under experiences that exceed human categories. The throne may not represent a chair. It may symbolize a higher order of intelligence itself, something above ordinary reality, observing civilization from beyond the veil. The beings surrounding the throne behave strangely. They observe, they proclaim, they witness. Throughout Scripture, watcher-like entities repeatedly appear: cherubim, seraphim, thrones, wheels covered in eyes, heavenly councils. Eyes symbolize awareness, perception, consciousness beyond limitation. The watchers represent intelligence that sees humanity completely, not only actions, but intentions, patterns, corruption, and hidden motives. This is why Isaiah reacts with terror. Woe is me, for I am undone. Not because he merely sees monsters, because he suddenly sees himself clearly. Many mystical traditions describe spiritual awakening this way, not comforting, but exposing the collapse of illusion. The realization that human civilization operates inside layers of blindness it cannot perceive. Isaiah's horror comes from recognition. The watchers are not becoming visible for the first time. He is becoming capable of seeing them. Then something deeply strange happens. A seraphim takes a burning coal from the altar and touches Isaiah's lips. Why the lips? Because speech shapes reality. The mouth represents language, truth, perception, interpretation. The burning coal symbolizes purification through fire. Across ancient traditions, fire represents transformation of consciousness. The old self burns away, distortion burns away, false perception burns away. Only then can revelation occur. Notice, Isaiah is not rewarded, he is altered. Painfully, real perception is rarely comfortable. To truly see reality requires the destruction of comforting illusions. And Isaiah's entire mission begins only after the fire. Much of Isaiah focuses on collapsing nations, Babylon, empires, corrupt rulers, systems built on arrogance and exploitation. But Babylon in Scripture functions as more than a location. It becomes an archetype, a civilization disconnected from truth, obsessed with power, consumption, image, and domination. Sound familiar? Isaiah repeatedly warns, systems built entirely on pride eventually collapse beneath their own weight. Not through divine punishment alone, through entropy, through corruption becoming unsustainable, the machine consumes itself. This is why Isaiah's prophecies feel strangely modern. He describes societies drowning in excess, disconnected from wisdom, exploiting the vulnerable, worshiping wealth, numbing themselves with distraction. The collapse begins spiritually long before it becomes physical. One of Isaiah's most repeated themes is blindness, not physical blindness, perceptual blindness. They have eyes, but do not see. Isaiah suggests humanity lives surrounded by truth while remaining incapable of perceiving it. The watchers see clearly. Humanity sees fragments. Why? Because civilization conditions perception itself. Noise, comfort, fear, status, distraction. These become filters between consciousness and reality. Isaiah's vision temporarily removes the filter, and what he experiences is overwhelming: hidden structure, moral collapse, spiritual distortion, transcendent intelligence, and the terrifying scale of existence itself. Perhaps the greatest fear is not that humanity is alone, but that we are constantly observed by realities we no longer know how to perceive. This has been a Mysterious Encounters, and the book of Isaiah may preserve something far older than religion, a memory, the memory of consciousness encountering overwhelming reality beyond ordinary human limits. The throne symbolizes higher order intelligence. The watchers symbolize expanded perception. The fire symbolizes transformation, and Babylon symbolizes civilization collapsing under the weight of its own illusion. Isaiah was not simply predicting the future. He was describing what happens whenever humanity loses alignment with truth. The collapse always follows, but so does the possibility of awakening, because the purpose of revelation is not destruction, it is clarity, and perhaps the watchers still exist, not above us, but beyond the veil of ordinary perception itself, watching, waiting, for humanity to remember how to see again.